Hey guys, it's Rozzi. I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
We're finally here. We're finally connected. We're finally getting to talk together. And before we dive in and talk about the new music, I really want to know about your evolution since Space EP to now. Just because that EP was not only your first EP, but there was so many great experiences in there from writing sessions with Kendrick, Adam Levine, James Valentine, Rabel. Like there's so many artists that you got to work with early on in your career. And like, I'm curious, like how that's kind of helped you become who you are today as an artist.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so grateful for all those experiences. Obviously, it's an honor to get to work with legends like that and learn from them. I think maybe I mean, if I'm being really honest, I think I maybe wasn't completely ready for those experiences yet. I was really green. Nobody in my family is an artist. Nobody understood anything about how it worked. And I kind of got like swooped up just and from school as a teenager when Adam Levine heard me sing. And it was this unbelievably exciting whirlwind experience that again, I'm super grateful for, but it definitely, I don't think I really knew who I was as an artist yet, you know? So it was kind of this like fairy tale like experience. And then frankly, I would say finding my voice and finding my sound happened more in the aftermath of all that, you know, and kind of being in a position where I then have to really connect to myself and find out what I want to say and what kind of music I want to make. And that's what's led me to here.
Your voice has grown so much, and now I understand why. Like I didn't realize you were green. I thought you were just like every other artist that has been working for years and years, and then the opportunity finally happened. But yeah, I mean, with your new single and your new music today, like your voice has just gotten even better than it was before. So
Yeah.
that process for you of kind of learning your voice, learning how to take care of it, learning how to use it,
Mhm.
what was that like for you?
Um, well, like my literal singing voice, I guess I'm just obsessed with singing. So I like mimic singers all the time. Like I would just learn Aretha Franklin albums note for note, or learn Ariana Grande albums. Like I'm just obsessed with singing. So I love to practice. I still practice. I still take lessons. That's just like it's almost like being an athlete. I think it's just like staying in shape and constantly trying to improve. My like voice, like my emotional voice, my songwriting voice, I think came from really committing to finding it, if that makes sense. Like I spent like a good year just writing songs and like every day and also like really committing to like having life experiences. Like I've been so ambitious my whole life. I always knew what I wanted to be that I maybe didn't really let myself live in the way to like get my heart broken and like make new friends and just kind of get out of my comfort zone. And I think I got better at like living, which sounds silly, but I actually needed to make an effort to do that. And then writing about it every single day. Hence why I write the most personal songs ever. I just live my life and then use it to write songs. And I think that helps me identify how I sound like when I speak and what I say and what words I use and all that stuff just from doing it.
I love that you're so personal with your music. You're very vulnerable, and this new single "Flow." It's another state of vulnerability. So that writing process for you, like, do you feel like it's easy for you to open up like this to your audience, or do you feel like at times you find yourself kind of taking a step back and like trying to figure out if you should or should not release certain lyrics or certain songs?
Yeah. I mean, so I have this mantra. My motto basically is if I'm embarrassed to put it in the song, I'm on the right track. That's like
Yeah.
my whole thing. But it always bites me in the ass in the end because I will write these, and like you're saying, these really personal songs. And then I'll put them out and I'll be like, why did I do that? Because I'm actually surprised. I even surprises myself that I can be really shy sometimes. And it's not really in my nature to be that forthcoming with everything in my life. It is really how I process my own emotions, you know? Um, So I'll write the song. I kind of have to trick myself and write the song as if no one's ever going to see it. And then just deal with it when it comes out.
So talk to me a little bit more about this new single Flow and like what really kickstarted that writing process for you.
So I wrote Flow in like the depths of my good friend Eric Leva. We wrote it on Zoom. Um, and once again, it's a super personal song. I wrote it about my boyfriend. And we were like, we were like really teenagey in love. And because we met right before, and then we were trapped in a house together forever. And it almost just felt like, and we were both used to traveling and we're both kind of busy people. And it was like, we were both just in this house. And at least for me, I felt like a kid. Like it was like we were like teenagers just making out on the lawn all day. And it was really fun. And it kind of, I had this feeling of like, oh my God, like it's this teenage feeling. But if I'd actually had this relationship as a teenager, I wouldn't have been able to handle it because I would have needed to go out and learn all the hard lessons you have to learn. You know, I personally think heartbreak is one of the greatest things that could happen to anybody. And I was feeling this like gratitude that I hadn't met Alex until I met him, which is kind of the opposite of what a lot of songs or way people talk about it. But for me, I was like, thank God I had this life experience and all these ups and downs before I met him because I wasn't ready for it. And I felt ready for it, if that makes sense. So it was the first song I ever wrote on Zoom, actually. And then Alex, my boyfriend, played guitar and bass on it. And yeah, it was the first single from the second half of my album that BMG put out. And I'm really proud of it. I love that song so much. I think I really said what I meant to say. I really captured our relationship.
But that's true. People talk about like right person, wrong time, but nobody really
Yeah.
talks about right person, right time. And that's
Right.
incredible that you kind of did that with the song. I also love how you kind of played with the title at the same time.
Yes, this is what happened. I wrote the song Flow, and I don't use that word that much, but that was the title I wanted for whatever reason. And then like a month later, it hit me that the word flow spelled backwards is wolf. And my boyfriend's last name is Wolf with two F's. So I added the extra F just because I thought that was too weird. I was like, that's so crazy. The song is so blatantly about you and it's your name in reverse. So I added the extra F. I don't know if people are really picking up on that or not, but I think it's fun.
But isn't it amazing though? Like music just happens. Like your heart speaks, you have to listen. Like that's
Yeah.
basically what it is. And
Mhm.
it feels like this is what happened with the song. It's like this experience was like trying to come out and be heard in a different kind of waveform.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you did.
Yes. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah. Um, it was meant to be his name. It was meant to be Wolf.
So tell me a little bit about your vocal ranges on this track. Just because, like I mentioned earlier, your voice has evolved and has gotten even more incredible than it was in the past. So what did you do differently vocally this time around? And where do you feel like you got challenged during the
Yeah.
singing process?
Um, I mean, here's the truth. I recorded that song at my house on my like at home little mic setup. It was probably the first song I ever did that with. I had really bad allergies. And so I can kind of hear it. I'm a little like stuffy. I can kind of hear it on the track. And then we tried re-recording it like multiple times. I went into like official studios and re-recorded it. I went to my friend Eric's house, who I wrote it with, and we tried re-recording it. And it just never was as good. This happens to me a lot. The vocal just never worked for me the way the original did. Something about the vulnerability of my voice in the moment, because I was feeling that way in the moment. And however many months later, when I went to record it, it's not that I wasn't feeling that way, but I just was in a different place. Our relationship was in a different place. You know, it's just like, it just doesn't capture the same thing. So I ended up using the original vocal. I also find that sometimes if I know a song too well, I'll like over sing it. I'll like really like overdo it. And I just don't like that. I kind of like that I'm a little hesitant with the melodies because I just written them and I want to make sure I was remembering them correctly. There's something about that I feel like always feels more human. And to me, the only point of art is to express like humanity. So I want it to sound super raw and personal. So yeah, it is actually a very hard song to sing. I do that to myself by accident all the time. The pre-chorus is the hardest. The teenage thing, like saying in tune without melody and rhythm is super hard. But that's okay. I like the challenge.
But you also, I feel like you challenge yourself too with the cadence. I feel like and you're right. It is a hard song to sing. I can't try and sing it myself and feel comfortable about it.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, it is. When I'm writing, I don't think about that. I just think, what's the best melody for this moment? What's the most interesting rhythm for this moment? I don't ever think about singing it. And my voice teacher will make fun of me. He'll be like, why'd you do that to yourself? I'm like, I don't know. It's cool. The melody's cool. I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah.
So when you came into this initially in the writing process, did you, were you mumbling it? Like, what were you?
No.
How
So
did you come up with?
Yeah, I write all my songs lyrics first. I write poems. So every morning when I'm being good and I'm on my shit, I'm sorry, can I swear on this?
No, you're good. Already. You're
okay.
Good.
I'm sorry. Every morning when I'm doing what I should be doing, I go to a cafe, I get caffeinated, and I write poems. And sometimes it starts from a journal entry. But the reason I started doing that actually, to our earlier discussion, was I'm kind of shy and I write these really personal songs. And so I started to notice, if I go into a room and I don't already have it written, I'm not going to say it. Like, I'll get too nervous. I'll be like, it feels too personal. I don't want to talk about what I'm feeling. And so I actually started doing it just as like a coping mechanism, because I knew I had good ideas, but I would not say them because I was nervous. And so I write lyrics by myself now. And I'll bring them in. I love to co-write. I almost always co-write because I just have so many amazing, talented friends who have ideas that I don't have. And I love the way that we bounce off each other. So I wrote this poem and I read it aloud to my friend Eric. And then we I don't remember exactly if the words are, sometimes the poems stay verbatim. Sometimes they change drastically. I don't really remember with this one. I think it is pretty true to what I wrote. And then we kind of just like he pulls out the guitar and we just start kind of like riffing off, using the poem as like a guide. And we just start like kind of singing melodies at each other until we like them, basically.
Now, is this song like a taste of what this upcoming Barry EP is going to be? Or is this like a small like piece of it?
I mean, I would say, so this Barry EP, it's very confusing. I was adamant that I put out a full-length album. My label was like, okay, no one cares about albums. We should definitely do 2 EPs. So the way it worked is I put out the first half last year and we're putting out the second half this year. And then we'll end up making a deluxe album and it'll all be one album. That was just my creative vision. And I've just been super annoying about it. And so that's what we're doing. So I would say yes, but if you've heard Hymn for Tomorrow, which is the first half of the record, there's plenty of shades of the second half there as well. It all really is one thing. So, they're not all acoustic. Flow is an acoustic song, which is one of my favorite kind of songs. I mean, I'm so validated that my most popular song is a song called Joshua Tree. That's just me and guitar. And it's so awesome that people like that. Cause I love, as a singer and a songwriter, I'm like, yes, just listen to me. I love this. So I think Flow, and there's another song that's also just acoustic on the second half, but there's also a lot of like really fun songs. I have a feature with Nile Rodgers, the legendary Nile Rodgers, and that song really bumps. It's not acoustic. That's going to be our next single. So, what is definitely true to the whole EP and the whole album is the personalness of it. I mean, it's just, I don't ever need to write a journal entry again, because every song, I mean, my great grandkids will know exactly what was up in my life because my songs are so personal. So that will be consistent probably forever, but definitely on this project.
I find it ironic that you say that you're shy, but you really prefer your acoustic songs over like your more.
I know. I mean, people are always like, you are not shy, Rozzi. And I'm telling you, you don't know it until you're really close with me, because Alex, my boyfriend, will take me somewhere and he'll be like, what, are you okay? And I'll just be dead silent, not saying anything. I think it, if I'm being honest, I think it comes from I like to be in control, and a random interaction, I can't control that. So I just clam up and I get nervous. But the truth is, once the song comes out, I forget what I did. It's like I said, I captured this moment in time and then I stopped thinking about it like that. And it's only the night before it comes out that I really have a panic attack about what I'm about to share.
That makes complete sense with what you mentioned earlier about you have to write your lyrics first before you kind of release them. And that feeling of having to be in control, because now you're reading it off of what you wrote, as opposed to your mind controlling what your
Exactly.
voice is
Sometimes
actually going to say.
I'll just text it. I'll just text them the
Yeah.
poem and I won't look at them while they read it.
Now back to this collaboration with Nile Rodgers. How did this happen for you? And what was that experience like for you?
Yeah. So my manager just reached out to him and sent him a song that I wanted him to play on. And he was down. And then we just kind of made a friendship over the phone. I've never met him in person. So we've just been friends on the phone. And he originally was going to do a different song. It wasn't exactly right. So I had him do this song called Consequences. And I remember he called me. He's like, Roz, I played the straight up kind of like melodic line. He's like, but what do we think about a crazy solo at the end? And I was like, yes. Are you kidding me? I have Nile Rodgers on the track, like shred, please. So he does this like unbelievable, like wailing guitar solo at the end, which I just love so much because I love music, like I don't just love, I don't just love pop music. I love music. I'm sorry, pop music is music, but you know what I'm trying to say? I love musicians is really what I should say. And so having like a big guitar solo is just like a dream, let alone from Nile Rodgers. So yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. It's kind of like a Princey vibe, this song. So I think people will like it. Well, Prince meets a little bit of a Haim vibe, with again, very personal lyrics.
So I'm expecting that you're going to challenge your vocal ranges even more on this track.
Yes, this one is it's fast and tons of words. So it's just rhythmically kind of a challenge, and the range is tough, but it's fun. I don't often do the most fun songs, and I think this one's super fun. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Well, Rozzi, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I'm super excited that we finally got to do this, but I'm super excited that more music is coming.
Yes. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much for having me. Great to finally make it happen.